welcome, guys. Welcome to Bryant VRM. Today we're going to be discussing the TMNT or TMNT, sorry. um, Great way to start a stream. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin. Joining me, we have Matthew from the Geeks Attic. Thanks so much for joining me today, man.
Thank you for having me here, Adam. It's nice to be
Yeah.
here on the rebooted channel. I like how you
yeah.
changed the name. I like it. I dig it. It's fresh.
Thank you.
I love the new background. Looks sick.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, what can I say? This has been pretty anticipated. Like when we first heard about it, like I was excited. I was excited. Like I've read only a few Ninja Turtle comics in my life, but being big fans of like the movies or the games and the TV shows, I was just so ready. Like, oh, that sounds like a great story, because I love that they're kind of going with like several other comics had, like that dystopian like setting. Like they had that in The Dark Knight Returns, Old Man Logan, and Spider-Man Reign, and a lot more. But
yeah, it's like I can't remember when it was announced, but I remember coming across like someone shared a link on Facebook, and it caught my eye, seeing, I think it was this actual image of I don't know, are we going to be talking about spoilers? Should we give a spoiler alert?
Oh yeah, to people just joining in, there will be spoiler talk for this. So
Okay.
if that's not something you're interested in, if you'd like to read it first, completely understand. We recommend go reading it and then come back and watch the stream. So
yeah. So that being said, whenever I saw this first image of the turtle, in which was, I feel dirty saying the name first on your channel, but that turtle right there is Michelangelo. And that was such a great reveal. I remember seeing that image first and like thinking like, oh man, who is that going to be? There we go. Look at that. And like my first thought was, oh, it's probably going to be Leo. But then everybody was like, it's going to be Leo. It's going to be Leo. And then I started thinking, you know what? It's not going to be Leo, because that's what everyone's going to assume. He was always the wise one, the smart one, always thinking about the group. How do I lead the group? And I thought, who's the most vulnerable? Who's going to be the one that's going to be like the fish out of water or the turtle out of the tank? Michelangelo. That was the guess that I ran with after that first little exposure to it and seeing it and just thinking that's going to be awesome. I love the Turtles growing up. I watched the movie all the time when I was a kid. The VHS is still, I guess it's at my parents' house somewhere, but the cartoon was great. And then recently, Adam, you know this, I started reading the original comics. This is that first volume of the original stuff, and that was so fun and exciting. And then this was announced, and yeah, I was like, I have got to get that comic book.
yeah, I totally agree. By the way, if you have not seen Matthew's reviews of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, go check them out on this channel. They're great reviews. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I honestly thought it was Donatello at first. Yeah. I don't know why I thought it was him. It's just probably because he's one of my favorites, and I was hoping. That was probably more wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But real quick before I finish this, we have Small Time joining us. Hey, Small Time, thanks so much for joining us. And yes, this is actually going to be one of several issues. I believe the next one's going to be released December, unless I delay it again.
Oh, is it really December?
I thought it was coming out. It's coming out in the winter. I do know that. It's not going to be.
So it's going to be a bummer. I didn't see a date on the back, but I think it's going to be a 5-issue series, right? A 5-issue miniseries.
I believe so. I can't quite remember. I do remember reading how many it was going to be. I think it was around 5 to 7, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay. I mean, the more the better.
Right.
But I don't see any dates for the next one in the book itself. It just says next issue.
Yeah, I think I may have Googled, when the next release date was, but you could always, you can only trust that, for so far. But yeah, I was honestly thinking the Last Ronin was Donatello, because like I said, it could have been wishful thinking because he's one of my favorites. But it's just like I could see why it would be him, because he's the most intelligent, and but then again, I could also see, and I've stated this in my review that I could see how it could have been any of them, but
Right.
I am glad that it's Michelangelo because I
Mhm.
do see that because he was always the goofball or the prankster
Yeah.
and the immature one, and then now he has to grow up, and
Hmm.
he is grown up, and it's
Oh
just
yeah,
he.
he's an old man now, alone,
Hmm.
and he's got all the weight on his shoulders of this vengeance that he wants to strike against the villain that we just talked about off camera. That I still can't. I always have a hard time remembering his name. Oroku Hiroto.
Yeah, Oroku Hiroto, grandson of Oroku Saki, the Shredder.
Yeah.
And we have Matt Wilkins joining us. Hey, Matt Wilkins. He said he saw the 1990 TMNT in theaters last weekend. Awesome movie. Oh, yeah, they have been playing a lot more of the older movies. Like, I took my wife to go see Harry Potter at the drive-in, and I'm kind of glad they're doing that. It's kind of nice just to get out of the house, especially with everything going on, and, just relive the classics. So,
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to see that one in
Oh
theaters. I think it'd
yeah.
be great.
Same here. That'd be so cool.
But I'm just gonna dive right into it and just ask, what did you think?
I thought it was great. Honestly, my first reaction when I read it was like it was really mixed feelings. Honestly, okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I was like, oh man, I wish it was a little different. And then I started to like I went back and flipped through the pages again, and I was like, actually, that was really good. But I still, like I said this in my review, like I wish it was a little grittier, darker. Maybe if they would have done like a callback and did this first issue, or maybe all of the issues that they're coming out with in black and white.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I thought the color palette that they used was really bright. It's like a lot of purple, yellows, just really bright greens. It's really bright comic book. You're in this futuristic realm now, which it's like I did it. It said New York, right?
yeah.
I think.
I believe it's New York City. Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks
and it
like.
just yeah, it looks really futuristic. There's flying cars and stuff, which that's fine because I mean that the original Ninja Turtle comic books got really weird, you know.
Hmm.
So I'm glad that it did get weird. It was nice throwback to the original stuff, but yeah, if it was just a little bit more black and white and I don't know, I really don't know how to explain it, but I guess you can't really have the turtle going around slaughtering a bunch of people. So that's what they use the robot ninjas, which is cool. They did actually kill people in the original series. So
Yeah, and if they went with that original black and white concept, like it probably would have been harder to identify who the surviving turtle was because all their masks were red,
mhm.
and like
Yeah,
I mean, the only way that you could tell them apart was by their weapons.
yeah,
And but yeah, I'll be honest too. I thought it was good. I'm saving my overall grade for like if I think it's like A,
mhm.
B, C, D, or F until it's done.
That makes sense.
Um, but but I thought it was a good start. It did a very good job of like gripping you. And I'll be honest, I was completely thrown off by him talking to his thoughts.
Mm,
Like
yeah,
I'm still not sure if they're ghosts or just like
yeah. He's just playing it.
hallucinations. Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
could be it.
honestly I honestly thought that there were just people with him, and they just didn't want to reveal who they were yet. But then when you saw like those images of the background of the other three turtles,
Hmm.
I was just like, I mean, it kind of hits you because they're dead. I mean,
Yeah,
as that's why it wouldn't be called the Last Ronin, but it's just they're gone or dead, and it's just, but you're still just like, oh,
yeah. You get that little tear jerker in there because it's like he flatlines, and it's like this.
mm-hmm,
Everything's kind of like a goldish tint to it, and he's like there. He's surrounded by his brothers, who they all look younger, you know. So it's like, oh, did he just pass on into where's this comic book going now? But then that last page kicks in, and you're like, oh wow, okay, I like what they did there. That little tearjerker moment with the brothers, and he snaps back into reality with another little bombshell with April, which
yeah.
that was really cool and surprising.
Yeah, I was wondering about her because we did get kind of implications that um, if April O'Neil or Casey Jones weren't alive, there may have been a descendant because there's a character named Jones, and I immediately thought Casey had a
Uh,
kid.
yeah, yeah, she was a female, right?
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
he stole her bike, like her
Yeah.
friend's bike.
And then you hear that one guy say like, "Hey Jones, come here." You know, he said something like that. You just hear him say Jones. I'm like, "Oh, is this Casey Jones's daughter or granddaughter or something?" I mean, and I was just like, I'm really hoping that but I'm also wondering like, is Casey Jones gonna be in this or is he dead too? Because
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
mean, but what I was gonna say was with the three turtles, what I liked about it is that they did a good job. The writers did a really good job of keeping you guessing.
Oh yeah, the whole time.
Yeah,
I thought
because
for
like
a minute there, I thought they weren't going to give it away in this issue.
I'm glad they did.
Yeah, me too.
it,
That would
it
have been a pain.
it would have been like like who's Ray's parents, just
Oh
like
yeah,
who are they or like who's the turtle,
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, we just went through this. Not again, please, with the turtles. Come on.
You're right. And but what I was saying was I thought that by like because you read several different types of tones with the other turtles dialogue, like some of them sound very serious and or intelligent. So you're like, okay, well, that sounds like something Donatello would say or Raphael would say. Then they would say something kind of goofy. I'm like, okay, well, wait, there's something goofy. Is that Michelangelo or something?
Yeah,
But then you also realize like, well, they're all like, even though they might be serious or smart or rough or goofy, they all kind of have that similar teenage like
yeah.
not accent.
Voice, voice.
Yeah, and it keeps you guessing, and then at the end he's laying down all four of their masks over the weapons when he's just deciding to take his own life.
Yeah.
And
It was something that we mentioned like with the mask earlier. Yeah, in this book, he's wearing a black mask
mm-hmm.
and a hood up. I think through most of it too.
Yeah, that's kind of reminds me of uh, in recent Batman comics or in the Arkham games, Robin, has like a black hood,
Mm.
and then he wears like a dark black mask too. So that's kind of what it reminded me of. And also, I mean, the
Yeah,
Ronin, kind of the
yeah, on our back there.
yeah. It'd be kind of cool if this took place within the same storyline where Batman and Robin beat the Ninja Turtles. That'd be kind of cool. I mean,
They
anything's
also,
possible at this point, but
yeah, I think they even have a run in with the Ghostbusters, so it'd be a weird. It's like, yeah, all the Ghostbusters are dead too, except one. All either Batman or Robin's dead. Which one's alive?
hmm but I was also going to ask, was there anything you didn't like about it? I mean, you did mention that you wish it was darker, but was there anything else that just you was just like,
I wish we would have got a little bit more about the villain, which it's kind of hinting towards. At least I'm taking it as we're gonna get definitely we're gonna get more of Hiroto. Yeah, that's his name, Oroku Hiroto. I have my notes up. I can never remember his name. I'm sure we're gonna get more with him, and I'm really wondering if we're gonna get flashbacks to see what happened. Because if we don't, that might be a little bit of a disappointment.
yeah, I'm hoping so. I mean, I'm sure they will. I mean, because I mean that's like when you read this, like that's one of the biggest questions you get is what happened to the turtles? What happened to Splinter? Like, like how did New York get to be the way it is now? And so yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll at least either do flashbacks or they'll explain it. But all we do get is that from the Hiroto is that he either killed the turtles or he played a part in killing them because he actually does say like I just like I thought I wiped out all of you mutants and
Yeah, yeah, and this makes me. I wonder too, where does this tie in? Is this supposed to tie into the original storyline? Because of course, like I haven't been able to really pick up much more of the volume one. I've made it to like issue 5 or 6, but then decided I got to get some other stuff done. So I've been reading other stuff before I go back to it. I'm just wondering if this is all supposed to be part of that same storyline, or if it's something that's going on now, and they're like, oh, let's just jump into the future.
mm-hmm.
Do you know if what they're doing with that, or because I mean, when I saw Eastman and Laird in it, and what are the other guy?
Waltz,
Tom
Escorza, and
Waltz. Yeah,
Delgado. Yeah.
yeah. Tom Waltz, I think, had a lot to do with some of the earlier stuff too. I think I could be wrong about that.
This is just a guess on my part. I mean, I don't 100% know, but based on like the tone that we got,
Mm-hmm.
it could very well be. Um, either the original or one of the other earlier ideas of the comics, like because like I said, I haven't read a lot of Ninja Turtles either. I've mostly been a fan of the games and the shows and the movies,
Mhm.
and I mean I have a Ninja Turtles comic back there, but I don't know if I would say if it's the original, the ones that you've been reviewing, because like you said, they've been killing people in those, and based on what I read from the dialogue and everything, it sounds like they used to be pretty light. It used to be pretty lighthearted,
Okay.
like um, because from what I read from the originals, it just didn't really seem to line up because like I don't remember them goofing off as much.
Right. Yeah,
They,
they were
they
kind of
seem
angry with each other a lot.
Yeah, it seemed pretty serious. So I'm not. If I were to guess, like I said, this is just 100% guess. It might be just uh, kind of like what Batman, The Dark Knight Returns is. I mean, that's just
Mm.
set into like an alternate future, and that because different events happen like in that comic. Like it's not necessarily, if I remember correctly, it's not necessarily tied to any other storyline. It's just its own story
Yeah.
that just happens to take place, in an alternate future. And I'm kind of wondering if this is kind of what that is too.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Either way, I'm happy. I don't care what it ties into. I enjoy it. Looking forward to issue five, number two, which I just looked up, and it says number two of five,
Oh,
and
well,
it
there we
and
go.
it says it's going to be available December 16th.
Oh,
So
nice. Got a Christmas present then.
yeah, yeah,
You're
for
gonna get
myself.
that issue and be like, "This is my Christmas gift to me."
Yeah, yeah. So what did you think? I mean, look, okay, the comic book did go dark towards the end, right? Whenever he
Hmm.
falls, he's climbing the tower, trying to get to the top to wipe out his nemesis. Now, he falls off because of a Mauser, which is a throwback to the original comic. Well, which I think the Mausers have been through every, um, you know, version
Yeah,
of the Turtles. These
yeah.
are
They
like
brought. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
they brought it back. It's like a bigger technology. They fly, they hover, they look bigger, and it knocks him off of the tower. So he falls, he hits the ground really hard, and he's
Hmm.
bleeding a lot. Like he's bleeding out. But he manages to drag himself down into the sewers where he's going to. I just looked up this term too, like the suicide. It's just like harakiri is the ritualized form of suicide with roots in 12th century Japanese samurai warrior culture. So that's what he was going to do. He picked up the broken blade of Leo and he was going to stab himself in the stomach.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I have seen that in other movies, like in the Wolverine, actually, where Wolverine was in Japan. Like there's like it was, in the past, and like these people were actually going to do that. Like it's I think it's like it's better to take your own life than
mm,
let your enemies take it or something like that.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
says
I'm
like
just guessing.
rather than that's what it says too. It says rather than be captured, a defeated swordsman would stab himself in the left belly, draw the blade to the right, then pull upwards. Oh, well, graphic. Don't recommend you do that. But that's what they did in the harakiri ritual. So interesting.
But yeah, like what you're saying though about that, it does get really dark. I mean, like that's not something that you would see in like the original movies or anything like
Yeah,
that. And
especially
it's
with
just
Mikey. I can't imagine Michelangelo doing something like that.
yeah, like out of everybody, I could probably see Leonardo doing that because you always remember him being the more serious samurai or
Hmm.
warrior or ninja.
Yeah.
And but it's just Michelangelo, no, probably wouldn't do that.
Part of me at that moment when he's like angry with what's happened, like, he's like, I failed, I'm gonna have to take my life. For a second, I thought, okay, is this gonna be Raphael then? But then, my
Like I said,
initial,
it did a great job of keeping you guessing.
yeah, yeah,
And that's what I liked about it is that like that it's good writing because it keeps you invested. You're just like,
hmm,
okay, I want to know. I mean, like, but I mean, you could have easily just skipped to like the last page, be like Michelangelo, then just put it
yeah,
back on the shelf.
yeah, yeah,
But
not wise.
no, but I thought that I think it's best to read it and get that reveal because then like even if you were wrong, it's still
Hmm.
rewarding in a way because you're like, oh, because I can totally see that now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
especially after reading it, you get, you also get all that speculation as to why it's Mikey. Like you're like, oh wow, is it just going for that coming of age type
Mm-hmm.
story where he had to grow up, like I
Yeah.
was mentioning earlier? But yeah. Um, so what do you hope to see in future episodes or future issues?
Future
Sorry.
issues. Like I said, I want to see a flashback. I want to see what Hiroku. Sorry, I gotta look it up again. I tell you, it just will not stick. Oroku Hiroto, what he did to the turtles. I want to know what happened in that event. Which we didn't mention. He is now the head of the Foot Clan.
Mm-hmm.
So he's followed into his father's footsteps, and he has his little sect of the Foot Clan there in New York. Now it's like a lot of technology in the Foot now. So I don't know if we're gonna get Foot members. What is the Foot Clan? Was it those robots? Did it ever say if those were the Foot Clan members or if those were just security guards? Because I'm pretty sure it was said that it was just the security, right?
Mm-hmm. Let me see.
I could be wrong. I'm looking. I don't see.
I do remember them mentioning that he's now head of the Foot Clan, but
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I don't know if he is or not. But we did have that really cool one that had like the roller blades.
mm-hmm.
That was interesting. And he's like a super robot ninja soldier.
Super robot ninja soldier. There. um, I agree. Also, I want to see flashbacks because I want to know what happened.
Yeah,
Like, was he just a superior samurai than the turtles were? Because as we all know, the Shredder is clearly their superior. Like,
oh yeah.
he's taken down, you know, uh, I mean, if they're like, I think he mentioned that like in one of the movies that like if all four of them, it would have probably taken all four of them for them to take him down, but they all said just one at a time or two at a time, and he just immediately wiped them out.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm just kind of wondering if like maybe he's just like a superior uh, like fighter, and that's how he was
Ninja.
able to,
Yeah.
yeah, how he was able to kill the turtles.
Probably
Um,
cheap shots. Which I wanted to mention this too, because we touched on that harakiri when the ritual suicide thing. The Shredder actually wanted to do that, but the turtles wouldn't allow it in the first issue, like the very first issue
mhm.
when he was
Oh,
on the rooftop.
yeah, I think I remember that.
Yep. But he blew himself up instead. Which is interesting because I
um,
mean, they even said in the little annotation section in that original comics, like, well, we didn't show the body for a reason, and I don't know if the Shredder ever returned in the original comic books or not. I'll find out eventually, but maybe he does, and then has a grandkid, and that's who we're seeing now. I don't know.
mhm. Yeah, there's also one thing that we haven't talked about, and another thing that I have questions about. Like we see Karai, his mother,
Oh yeah,
Hiroko's mother,
yeah, yeah, we
like,
do.
and she, from what I remember, she looks like she hasn't aged very much. Like, yeah, I mean, well, yeah,
She's in
she,
some sort of little bed thing, right? Like a little surgical
yeah,
chamber.
like she's like hibernating or not hibernating, in a state of like in a comatose
Yeah,
state or something,
yeah.
or cryogenic is probably what I was thinking of. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I was wondering, like, well, was she like sick or something, kind of like the Mister Freeze and his wife thing, like, and or is was she like in a coma or just never rewoke, and so he's just keeping her alive until she does? I mean, you know, I have questions and I want answers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm looking at her right now. She looks young still,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, she's got wires attached to her head and to her arms and stuff. This is interesting. But I mean, it almost went black and white there though towards the end. But it was like black and red, some subtle light green going on there and there too with the sewer scene where he's laying out all the colored masks and the weapons and stuff. And
Yeah, and you see like his outfit's all purple and everything, kind of going
mhm.
like all red and everything. Yeah, I like that. It's kind of like hinting that something's about to happen. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, very. That's when it got dark and gritty. I like that stuff.
Now, I was gonna ask, like, was I don't know if I really want to ask it. It's just more like, what do you hope will not happen?
You know, I hope will not happen.
Like, like a deal breaker, I guess.
You know, I thought I had something in my head about that, um, and right now it's left me. I mean, about okay. I want to see if I can tie this in somehow about what you asked before. What else I would like to see?
Uh-huh.
I would like to see like a return of Casey Jones. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing him old, just like even beefier, just like the grungy old man. Um, Maybe him and April married or something. But I want to see teamwork with the three because in the original comic books, April's like with the bad guy, but she doesn't know it yet. But she helps the turtle save the day, and so then they team up more. So I'm sure she's going to be part of some big tactical plan to take down Hiroto, which will be
Mm-hmm.
cool. But what I don't want to see, I mean, I don't want to see Michelangelo die, but I also don't want him to be left alone and have to deal with the loss of his brothers much longer. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say he's probably going to die in the last issue.
Yeah. I can see that too. I mean, I'm with you. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah,
Um, but I want him to find like it's like when you read this, you want him to have peace because he
yeah,
clearly doesn't.
yeah.
And hopefully like he gets his, peaceful ending. Like whether it's, he dies avenging his family or he just decides to live out the rest of his days in peace.
Yeah. I mean, what I
Some,
don't want to see, I don't want to see every villain be a robot. I
yeah.
mean, yeah, well, Uroko Hiroto, human, but I don't want all of his minions to be just robots. I think that might be a little cheap. But if that's what they stick with, I understand. It makes it a little bit more kid friendly, which I think this has like a rating in it for mature um, audiences or something like that. Somewhere I
Sorry.
thought, but I don't know.
I have to read Small Time's comment. He says, I hope Vanilla Ice does not show up in it.
That would be funny. Maybe there's an Easter egg with him in the background in the future scenes.
That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah,
Oh, that's something we haven't even considered. I mean, what if this ties into the movies?
uh, that would be insane.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
because
if we
like,
had some of those like the super shredder or like those the big dog and other turtle that had all the spikes on it.
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or what
Like, I
yeah.
mean, I mean, like I said, that's a possibility.
Yeah. Like, what was the guy's name in the sequel? The guy who was the pizza guy that wound up helping them out.
Oh,
I cannot recall what his name was. He like was a like
yeah,
a mole who got inside the Foot Clan for him.
yeah. Here, I'll look it up right now. But while I'm looking it up, what I was gonna say was, I hope that um one, and it's both of mine are about Casey Jones. Um, I'm hoping one, he's not dead,
Mm-hmm.
and two, if he is not dead or if he's still alive, I hope that he's not somehow a villain now. Like,
Oh yeah, I can't imagine him doing that. Would you be disappointed? Okay, yeah, you said you'd be bummed out if he was dead, but if that turns out to be his daughter or granddaughter or something that they were like kind of hinting at, like, oh, hey, Jones, will that disappoint you?
no, I'm actually hoping it is his daughter.
Okay. So now that we talk about it further, it's like maybe that really is where they're going to go with that.
Uh-huh.
Having a little like, oh, look, a little run in with a turtle. He steals something, so she's going to be kind of like, you stole my bike. Something like that
Yeah.
later down the road. And it's like, I knew your grandfather or dad or whatever. Like
Yeah,
they kind of have a little beef or something.
yeah, she does mention like, whoa, a mutant turtle, as if, she's has like some because like she has some knowledge of their existence, which means that like, hey, my father spoke of
Yeah,
mutant turtles before, and my mother did too.
yeah.
And small time, you stole my pizza. Speaking of pizza, the Kino, I think his name was. Yeah, I'm looking up right now. I think his name was Kino, the pizza delivery guy from TMNT 2.
Okay. I don't remember them saying that name, but whatever. So I do have a
But
question for you. I opened the book up and it doesn't have page numbers on it, but there's some like a turn of the page where the Jones actually does help the turtle out after he falls. You know, he crawls down into that manhole and the security
mhm.
looking for him, and she's like, "Oh yeah, he went that way," and then she goes down into the sewer to go check out the thing, and he's like, "Oh, this guy's bleeding out big time." So maybe she's the one who found him on the floor and was like, "Hey, April, is this one of your buds?"
Wondering
And
if like maybe they're part of a freedom fighter or like a rebellion or resistance type
yeah, it
like
could be.
group and everything. Like maybe they're just kind of like on the DL, and maybe like you said, maybe that's April's daughter, and she spoke about mutant turtles and that
Hmm.
she and her father used to. I mean, if this is Casey Jones's daughter, but
Yeah,
uh, and maybe because that would explain a lot because maybe she does work with April O'Neil because like whoa, a mutant turtle, like April talked about mutant turtles before, like and then that would explain why she's there at the end of the
yeah,
issue.
yeah.
But
Even like there's like a guy on that one of those pages who has these yellow glasses that have one thin lens all the way around, and it kind of looked like it might have been. It reminded me of like that Krang, like his suit,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I don't know if it's just a oh let's make a futuristic glasses or something. But it just kind of reminded me of that a little bit too. So I don't know if there's little Easter eggs in there that like pro turtle fans would know, you know, like the crazy ones that just know absolutely everything there is to know about them. I'm sure there could be some Easter eggs in there, but nothing that I was like, oh look, I know exactly what that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't stand out to me like so. Well, like I'm kind of like with you. I've only been a fan through the movies and the
Mm-hmm.
comics and
Yeah,
everything, but um, you never know. They might. I hope they explain it down the
yeah,
line.
yeah.
But well, guys, I think that's just going to do it for this one. Yeah, like I said, we just read it. We wanted to talk about it and get our thoughts out there and just kind of speculate what we hope to see in future issues. So, if you have not, here's my last question: do you recommend it? And I think we already know the answer to that.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Very fun. Even now, if you haven't read it and you heard us talk about it, you still need to do it because there's some really cool art in here. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
some wild fight scenes. I mean, just seeing him on the motorcycle, he just looks like a hardcore guy that you would not want to mess with.
Yeah, and it's like we mentioned, like it's funny because he used to be the turtle that was probably the least threat intimidating because he
Yeah.
was always such a goofball. I mean,
Hmm.
he was still, he could pound you to the ground, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yep, we're excited. We're excited for the next issue to come out. So like, hopefully,
December 16th.
yep, hopefully we'll come back and after we do our reviews, do another discussion about that one too. And I'm like I said, I'm ready. Oh, here's another question. Whenever they all five come out and they combine them into one big graphic novel, are you going to buy that, or are you just going to stick with the?
Depending if it the whole thing is good, probably so. Is
Mm-hmm.
you know, I I'm collecting all the volumes of the originals, and if it's great, then yeah, I'll get it and I'll put it next to those. Um, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see over the next probably year. If they're doing it every 2 months or whatever, then yeah, we'll see.
Well, if you guys haven't gone to Matthew's channel, be sure to go check him out at the Geeks Attic. He does reviews for books. He does live stream discussions. He's been doing comic books, the Ninja Turtle comics recently. And so be sure to go check him out. And he also does Star Wars book reviews.
Yep, just did
Oh, The Empire Strikes Back of From a Certain Point of View. Yeah.
that one's it.
Well, yeah. And I meant to say From a Certain Point of View of The Empire Strikes Back. There we go.
Yeah.
But guys, thank you all so much. Thanks for joining me here at Bryant DRM. And again, thank you all so much. Go check out Matthew's channel at the Geeks Attic. And I'm going to end this stream by quoting the guest of honor, which is Michelangelo here. I'm going to say a famous quote. Forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Yes.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.